You're listening to Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast. Comics, television, movies, and more. If it impacts fan culture, we have something to say about it. And now, your hosts, Jordan, Cliff, and Seth.
Welcome back, everyone. You've been very patient, but it's time for part 3 of Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast extreme TV theme song bracket. My name is Jordan Lowe.
I'm Cliff Barnes.
I'm Seth. I can't believe you did that all in one breath. Like, that was impressive.
I'm in
He did it so fast I couldn't even get that explosion in there.
No,
There it was.
delayed explosion. Unless you are a patron, and then you may have heard this episode a little early. We didn't make you wait
Yeah. How about that?
line are we in?
so long as Cliff got it done.
Anyway, if we've got any new listeners, go back and listen to the first couple. I think actually we were not even going to say who won those till the end of this episode. In case you want to listen to this first,
So
warning.
part 1 was the Bronze Age,
Mhm.
70s, 80s, 90s.
Well, it was like 80s.
80s,
Yeah.
90s.
Mainly 80s.
There's a lot of overlap, but 80s and 90s, I think.
Part 2 was the Golden Age, stretching 50s, 60s
Yeah.
era. So now is part 3, and we are doing
We're doing the modern age.
the Modern Age.
Which I think the oldest show on this list started in 89. So you may ask why it was not in the Bronze Age. Well, that's because it's still on. So it stretches all the way to today. And
I bet I know which one it is.
a lot of these shows are still on. And also this list, especially, I want to give the disclaimer that your favorites might not be on here. There are a ton of shows nowadays between streaming. All the different networks have their own slate of shows, of course, but even more than ever before. So there's so much content out there and so many great theme songs.
And so many platforms to find it. Yeah.
So I have no doubt that I have missed some stuff. As I made some of these clips, I thought, man, I didn't have this or that, but I did the best I could.
Well, this is the Golden Age of television. But this is the Modern Age.
Yeah, you're wrong. It's the modern age.
Bracketing.
So,
So what we are doing are matching up these theme songs. So we are going to pit 2 against each other like an NCAA tournament bracket, and we'll pick a winner, and that winner will move on and face the next one and the next one and the next one until we have narrowed it down to a final 4, and then finally a champion, and it will go on to face the 4 others from 4 other eras.
So yeah, we're exactly at the halfway point of the whole thing. So
There's been some surprises. There's been some that we kind of assumed would do well.
Yeah.
This one I have no idea. This is the ball's in the air. Who knows where we're going to land.
Yeah.
all right, so we're going to start off here on our papers the Northwest bracket. And we're going to do the play-in. Now, this time we did polls on Facebook, on Ka-Pow, Pop Cultured Podcast page, where you could vote for the play-in. So the first matchup, and we're leaving it up to you guys. Mm-hmm. Whoever wins this matchup is who is going to be in the bracket here.
You didn't know you wielded that much power.
Yeah,
there,
we didn't
did
even necessarily let anybody know that, but that's how it's playing out here. So the matchup, we start with a show that came out in the year 2000, kind of the king of all reality shows, still on today, about to enter season 39 this month. If you don't recognize that, well, I guess you don't watch reality shows that much. This is a famous theme song. Survivor. Did you guys ever watch Survivor?
I watched the first season because it was a pretty novel idea, I thought. I enjoyed it a lot, but then I kind of thought as the seasons have gone on, it's just kind of, it feels like the same thing over and over. I'm sure it's not. I'm sure fans would argue that, but
Yeah, they've done a lot of changes and upgrades to the rules over the years as they fixing little things here and there or adding things to make make it more interesting, bringing back players, fan favorites, and things. So yeah, it's a great show. I've seen every episode, watched some seasons again.
Did you ever, like back in the day, I remember all the rage was you had to make a Survivor tape to audition.
No, I never made one.
You never made a tape?
Yeah,
I had a friend that did.
Yeah. I think I saw his. But yeah, it would have been a great chance to go do something like that. It's a great experience. So, I still love that show.
And broke the ground for
so many.
Half of network TV now is a reality show.
Right.
Reality competition show. And that's what this kind of blew the doors open, what the format was possible.
Yeah, so luckily they had a really strong first season, and by the second, this was back when if you were on one of these reality shows, you were a pop culture icon. Like, you became huge.
I still, Richard Hatch, I remember that name.
Everybody knows who he is. Nowadays, you don't know who anybody is on these reality shows. You literally have 15 minutes of fame, and you're right back to being some schmuck. So, which is, probably good in that regard, but you might be turned into an influencer or something. But anyway, we don't want to talk about that. Let's see what it's up against.
When you said modern, you meant it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Season 2, I think we discussed this on our last regular show. This is Succession on HBO, and I just love this theme, and it plays throughout the episodes. It comes in and out, different forms of it, really highlighting parts of it. And I think I mentioned before that Kieran Culkin is great on it. He's got a
We're gonna beat them up. Good?
Yeah, let's do it. I like it.
Oh, dude, don't be such a suck-up. It's pathetic.
What about you, Romulus?
I love it, but that's my honest opinion.
Great. Forward. Fast.
They're constantly fighting with each other. Anyway, yeah. So, good theme song, good show. What would we have said before we reveal how the fans picked?
I couldn't have remembered what Survivor was, but when I heard it, I was like, there it is. So I think I'd go Survivor.
Yeah, my wife has been watching Succession, but I knew you had it on the list because I put the poll up, and I had to go back and I was like, I have no idea what that is. So I looked it up, and I was like, well, that's cool. But I think Survivor's been around so long, I would have went with Survivor. Just as more popular, more people would know it.
Yeah, and sets the tone for that island.
Yeah. I think it's a nice, short, good theme song. I prefer Succession as a piece of music. Like I don't skip that intro. I like that music opening. But doesn't matter what I pick, because what did they say?
So our Facebook poll, the Jessies voted, and at 67% Survivor.
All right.
So does that mean the tribe has spoken?
I believe that the tribe has spoken.
The tribe has spoken.
I didn't know you had that queued up and ready to roll.
I did.
I should have known.
Okay. So, speaking of survivors, and it's going up against something big, and in this show, you win or you die.
Game of Thrones. I miss Game of Thrones. This was a show that I never skipped the theme song on. I love the opening graphics.
Well, and they would change it up a little bit about what was going on. But 2011 to 2019 just wrapped up. Final season. It's a very excellent theme song. Very strong.
It fit the show too. I love.
It was long enough and put you in the mood for the show.
But the instruments used in it, like you can hear those strings in it. That's the music of the show.
Yeah, I almost went to a live orchestral concert of a lot of music
yeah.
from the show. I would love to hear live Reigns of Castamere or something, but this great and easily beats Survivor.
Yeah, I think so.
It's a little bit tainted by the South Park episode that spoofed this song. So I hear those lyrics oftentimes when I hear this song.
Oh, there's lyrics. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so
I think of...
I'll still vote Game of Thrones because it's pretty epic.
I think of the Sesame Street spoof of it. If you didn't know, you can look it up. Sesame Street did a take on Game of Thrones. It was crazy
Cool.
It couldn't be more opposite. So.
Who sits in the iron trash can?
Yeah, so we go down to another matchup here. This is kind of a... Let's see, do we have a theme? I don't know. We got from Kings and Queens. Now we're into some Lords and Ladies. I hate to be the first one to talk over it, but I just think that's a beautiful.
Were you a
piece of
big
music.
Downton Abbey fan?
I love Downton Abbey. You said your wife made you watch it, but
man, she did.
nobody had to make me watch it. I love it. I can't wait for this movie to come out.
Yeah, pretty soon, isn't it?
Yeah. This month, I think. But this one from 2010 to 2015. I think those dates were when they originally came out in the UK. But
It's a good show.
very good,
Original.
A lot of good dynamics and
It feels authentic. I think that's the big appeal for a lot of folks. It really feels grasped onto that setting, that time period.
Yeah, it's a great show, and a great piece of music. So, but it's up against another big show that was on for a long time, from '94 to '09, created by Michael Crichton.
That's very familiar.
Another one I couldn't have told you what it sounded like or hummed it, but now that I'm hearing it, obviously, yeah. Thursday night NBC lineup.
Yep.
When the comedy was done, then the drama hit you.
It's had a revolving cast.
ER.
Ah,
I said it.
I really like that theme song. Now that I'm sitting here listening to it, like I've always liked it. It was a great start to that show. I mean, did you guys watch ER? I mean, I watched all of it.
Not religiously, but you know,
A lot of people
enough.
are going back right now. It must be on Hulu or something.
Yeah.
because everybody's going. A lot of people. I've just listened to some entertainment podcasts, but some of these writers are going back and watching the whole series again, or they never watched it the first time, and they're saying it really holds up apparently, and I believe that. So many people got their start there, and of course you had Clooney and Noah Wiley and Juliana Margulies, and so more Tyranny.
Yeah, it had some big names
great show.
over the years, and like I said, it had that revolving cast that because it was on for so long, but and it was always a staple at the top of the ratings. I've said this before. It's not my thing. I don't do hospital shows. I don't do cop shows really. Just my personal taste, but yeah, the theme instantly recognizable for that show. So. Downton Abbey, ER. That's a weird matchup.
Yeah, you got to go somewhere. So, what's your vote?
I would say ER. I think
You can't go wrong.
Yeah, I've definitely watched more ER than I have Downton Abbey. That was a nice song. It felt very appropriate for the era and the setting, but ER would be my vote.
ER is really strong, and I also would have went with that. So now we got a matchup here. See, we had ER was the most Emmy-nominated show in TV history until Game of Thrones passed it last year.
Oh, that's an interesting tidbit.
So, is Game of Thrones going to beat them out again, or
for my money, it would. Yeah.
Yeah, I would go Game of Thrones pretty easily here.
Okay, I wouldn't go easily. In fact, I probably would go ER. I like the Game of Thrones theme. I think it's probably number one seed here, but I loved ER, and I like that whole thing.
I still don't think we fully grasped Game of Thrones' place in history. We haven't had enough distance from it. This show, for a complicated, complex, high fantasy, the nerdiest subject matter ever, dragons and kings and queens and wizards and all that nonsense that most people avoid, wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole, and it captured something. As especially premium cable, like it was, you had to go out of your way to find it. I just think Game of Thrones, I don't know, maybe it didn't stick the landing for a lot of people, but I think its legend is only going to grow for years and years. People are going to keep discovering this show, and I think we haven't quite figured out exactly how big this really was in culture.
All right. I get it. We're going with Game of Thrones.
I've seen one episode of it, so I'm talking it up.
My vote was ER. They both went Game of Thrones, so it moves on. So now we go to the bottom part of the Northwest bracket. With a show,
This is pretty close to the heart here, isn't it?
HBO premium content here that I think had a perfect first season anyway.
That player piano kicks in.
There it is.
Yeah, that's the hook. So, of course, we're talking about Westworld. Started in 2016, and we still have more. I like the second season. Maybe not quite as well as the first, but it's great stuff. I own the soundtracks on vinyl, and they're great. Like, this is a good sampling of what you're going to get, but there's a ton of great stuff.
If you've already listened to the two previous episodes, you're kind of noticing a pattern here with these modern shows. It's a lot more instrumental so far. We just got off of that classic, theme song, Tell It What It Is, sing about the show.
Yeah, you weren't
very fast-paced.
Come on down to the Westworld town, pick up a gun and put on a hat. You're not going to get that in today's world. But yeah, this show throughout its run has done incredible things with music, like cover songs. You'll hear old-timey versions of pop songs and things. So yeah, it just starts from the theme and gets better from there, for my opinion.
So let's stay in the West. You guys recognize it?
Yeah, after I started in, I thought, man, I forgot all about this show.
Did you watch The West Wing?
No, I always feel like I watch way too much TV until I start seeing lists like this. I'm like, I've never seen that. So I've never watched The West Wing.
I watched some of it, and it was a really good show.
I watched the first few seasons. Some people swear by it, have worn it, have watched it through multiple times. I mean, it was, stacked with people: Martin Sheen, Rob Lowe, Allison Janney, John Spencer, Bradley Whitford. I mean, just an incredible cast, but I feel like it's a little dated, and I tried watching it.
Yeah.
Watching it a few years ago. I had missed the boat the first time through, and I watched probably the first 3 seasons, and I figured if I didn't love it by then, I probably wasn't going to, and I just couldn't make myself watch it.
Yeah, just and super popular in its day for a show about politics that many people just avoid, don't want to even talk or think about, but something captured people with it.
Yeah, I think it's funny now because in today's culture, it's so outrageous, politics right now. But for when this happened, at the time it happened, it was a great fit.
I think my problem, I like Aaron Sorkin. I don't love Aaron Sorkin, and he writes all that. He's very known well for the dialogue he writes, and sometimes it's just so unrealistic to me. The conversations, they just talk over each other, and everybody is witty and snappy, and it just is totally unrealistic.
But people love a good speech or a good rousing, than a snarky comeback. Yeah, people.
Yeah, and I think as a theme song, like that theme song really fits that show.
It is a great theme song. As far as which song is better, that is a really heartwarming song there, and I like Westworld the show way better, and I do love its theme song, but it's a little slower, maybe not as iconic, I guess, as that.
But man, when that hook hits, though,
I do. Yeah,
I get into it a little bit. I like.
I'm Westworld all the way.
I'm glad. I'm fine with that.
It has that old timey, piano tinkle, but it has that. There's some, something behind it that's a little more. There's a thrum to it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like Westworld.
Okay, Westworld. Okay, we get to the bottom. We got a couple of shows that I don't think they would get along very well.
This is like Segway Central.
Red and the blue flashing through the...
I mean, this song is... If a song can be a meme, this is it. I mean, everybody knows Law and Order. This one for 20-some years. And there's other versions of it, of course. But this is the original Law and Order theme.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah. It's good. It's like... It is iconic. This is like the Dragnet of the modern generation.
The dragnet of the modern.
Well, as far as the cop show,
I get that.
But the theme song doesn't have the ka-chung.
No, you need that.
They could have worked that in somewhere.
Yeah. So, did you guys watch much Law and Order?
Again, I'm not into the hospital shows or cop shows very much, but you can't not have seen it or come across it at some point.
It's been on. It was on forever, and it was a show that. I think at one point I don't think we had cable yet or something, and it was on, the local NBC a lot. So we always watched it because that was the better of whatever else was on.
Jerry Orbach.
Yeah.
The late Jerry Orbach.
Yeah.
And there are fewer of these shows. There's always going to be cop shows and procedurals, but in today's world where so much is serialized, you cannot miss an episode of Westworld and have any clue what's going on.
Yeah.
There's something comforting about a show. Just, it's on tonight, I'll watch this. And it's just a story. You get a story, you get a bite-sized meal.
You don't need anything
else.
Like
you were talking last time about Perry Mason. That, the shows like that you don't have to know anything from before or after. You just come in, get one story. On Law and Order, they investigate it for the first 20 minutes, half hour, and then bring in Sam Waterston, start... prosecuting the second half. Good stuff. Jerry'd be after this guy. crank it up. In your cars, wherever you're listening to this. I love the opening of this show. I never skipped any of this. The Sopranos. Is this the beginning of Prestige TV?
I wouldn't argue it.
I don't know what is considered. I off the top of my head, but like Sunday nights on HBO, The Sopranos.
This kind of began the run for cable shows, getting all the Emmys, getting all the accolades. Like, it was all network TV. You know, ratings-wise, awards-wise, basically until Sopranos.
Yeah.
And then they got nominated for everything.
It's one of the most, if not the most highly rated show ever. 99 to 07, I believe. And did you guys watch it? I remember I caught up. I didn't watch it from the beginning, but then I binged the whole thing before the last couple seasons. And, so good.
I did not.
I lived with my brother in Columbus for a year after college, and he was a huge fan, never missed it. So I'm like, well, I guess I just got to dive in season 5 or whatever it was. And he's like,
no.
And he's like, this is the worst season. So whatever season I've seen front to back, it was apparently the worst season.
Wow.
But I've seen a little. I need to watch them all through.
Yeah,
I've seen some here and there.
If anyone has Amazon Prime, currently this is one of the HBO shows that you can watch that is on there.
Yeah, my wife binged it. I think right after it ended a few years ago, and she went and a couple weeks watched every episode, every season. It wasn't my thing.
I could see it, people not appreciating it, where we talk about the comic book, the Watchmen comic that they read it nowadays, think, well, what was the big deal? Like, because everything copied it, everything flowed from it. I could see you maybe going back and watching Sopranos after you've watched Breaking Bad and all these other HBO shows. Like, well, it's just crime, anti-hero. We've seen a lot of that, but you hadn't seen Tony Soprano before that.
Yeah, like that. And the basis of the show, if you haven't seen it, he was a mob boss who was having so many problems between work, in air quotes, and family that he ended up going to a psychiatrist to try to sort things out, which was and this was, I believe it was based on a real mob guy doing such a thing. So.
And was not a good guy.
Right.
You liked him, you were drawn to him, but
he's very charismatic, but not good.
Yes, he was a bad man.
And Paulie Walnuts, what a great character. So I love that show.
Name some more.
Yeah, I love that show, and it's another show that I have been trying to create some distance from, so I could go back and watch the whole thing again, because it's really great.
And had a famous ending, even if you'd never seen it when that ending happened. That's all anyone was talking about, debating and going over and over.
Right.
An amazing theme song. Just what a great
It's
song.
called "Woke Up This Morning" by the English band Alabama 3. I love that. It's him driving home. Basically, I believe it's like he's been out all night mobbing, as you do. Or he's going into the city. I don't know. It's in New Jersey is where he's based. So let's see. I'm picking that over Law and Order.
I'm going Law and Order.
Law and Order has history on its side. It's got decades and probably more hours of TV than anything on this list could ever hope to have. But I don't know. Something about that Soprano song just kicks it into gear and just gets me ready.
I love it. So, Sopranos theme song faces off against Westworld, and I'm leaning up. I feel like it's going to go against me, but I like the Sopranos theme song better. But I watched the show. I understand you guys aren't big fans of the show, so
I don't love just always just a piece of pop music or a piece of classical music.
Agree.
Like a known song. Well, I mean, this wasn't known, obviously, but I prefer something tailored to the show.
Yeah, an original piece of music.
Sopranos fits perfectly. It's fine. No one will ever hear that song and not think Sopranos.
Right.
Like the Friends theme song, no one will hear that.
Right.
But wasn't that part of a show? It has absorbed the song. But I do love the Westworld.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like them both. You're not gonna, you pick whatever you want, but I just went with that.
I feel like we've done so much Westworld.
Well, I know what you're picking. Yeah, you don't like Sopranos, and you already we've praised Westworld for so long. I feel like it's gonna do good.
So it's up to Jordan.
Yep.
You picked Westworld.
Yep.
You picked Sopranos.
Yep.
Can't go wrong. Again. Here we go. Again.
Can't go wrong. He likes these alternate timelines that he always decided. Like, who would have won if?
Well, I mean, the winner of this goes up against Game of Thrones.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's not an easy fight.
Yeah, right.
But I can see either of these also beating it.
Yep.
But which one? Sopranos.
Boom. Okay, now we got Sopranos versus Game of Thrones. Two huge HBO shows. Wow, can I just get a sample of the Game of Thrones again?
Sure.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I feel like Cliff's probably leaning this way.
I do too. I'm a little closer, I think, on that. I've got a lot of nostalgia for the Sopranos, though. I don't know.
I would prefer it not come to me, but
So then you need to
I have
answer.
a feeling.
Either way, I don't know what to tell you. You don't answer fast enough.
I'm wishy-washy. Game of Thrones, wow, it feels like a classical composition.
To me, it's so complex when you add on that beginning, that opening sequence with all the buildings and the lands popping up and the gears
and if
grinding.
you're listening, we allow this as a factor in your vote. If you're like, this is part of the opening credits,
Oh yeah, like the Westworld thing, I'm picturing the piano.
Right.
The Game of Thrones, I'm picturing fire and buildings and dragons. And Sopranos, I'm picturing that car ride and just, going through the Pine Barrens. I can... It sets what you're in for the next time.
I'm going Sopranos.
Oh.
I'm going Thrones.
Well, I'm not qualified because I've seen very few of either of these.
No, that's the beauty of this.
having no qualifications.
Matter. What do you like better?
My gut is going one way, my head's going the other. My head says, Game of Thrones for its epicness. My gut says Sopranos for how cool it is.
Problem is, your gut has failed you before, probably. So.
All the time. But so does my head.
Or you would
so gut it is, Sopranos.
All right, so in the Northwest bracket, I wouldn't say a surprise, but
I think that's a little bit of a surprise.
It was a highly ranked. It was probably it was in the top 4 on that section, so pretty good. Okay, now we're going down to the Southwest portion, so we have another play-in where we let the fans vote.
Mm-hmm.
And
a little closer this time.
Yeah, a little bit closer. So.
Right, we had this one that I based this bracket on places. So we're coming from a little town in Kansas.
Another pop song used as a theme song.
Yeah, Remy Zemo was the band's name.
Yeah,
Zero.
What did I say?
Zemo.
Zima.
Baron Zemo.
Yeah, I was a fan of this show. It ran off course pretty quickly, but I always really liked the opening segment and that small, the Kent farm you're flying over and you see the meteor come in and then that Smallville come up on the screen. I loved that.
And this is before
this was all you had.
We had CW shows every night of the week and Netflix shows and Amazon shows. This was, we got Superman.
Yeah.
I remember seeing commercials for it and thinking, I'm not the biggest Superman fan. He looks kind of like a pretty boy. Am I really going to watch this? And then they ran ads and it showed him with his shirt off.
And you were in. That was it.
Yeah, hung in the
scarecrow
cornfield. Yeah,
with an S cut into his chest with kryptonite. And I thought, whoa,
yeah.
this might be something different. And like that, literally that image got me to watch it the first night.
And that was probably the greatest thing to come out of that show.
It was all downhill from there.
Yeah, I didn't watch a ton of this. But
10 seasons?
Yeah, 01 to 11. It was a big hit.
Yeah, I always really like that theme song. I remember.
It's a good thing.
Yeah, just listening to it. That's why I was really surprised that it was in a play-in.
Yeah, well, that's because I didn't think of it, and you guys mentioned it. I was like, I'll get it in there. We still have some more royalty on tap. We're visiting the ruling class in New York.
My eyes are getting weary. My back is getting tight. I'm sitting here in traffic on the Queensboro Bridge tonight. But I don't care, 'cause all I want to do is cash my check and drive right home to you. 'Cause baby, all my life
Old King of Queens.
I gotta have the. Did you guys watch this?
Yeah, I watched it.
A little bit.
Yeah.
It was it was a good show.
Jerry Stiller on there. And, I'm sure I can't imagine I missed more than a few episodes of it in reruns.
Yeah. Well, it was on in syndication for. I'm sure it still is, but I watched a lot of it. Even when it was running, still.
Yeah, 98 to 07. So I didn't even realize it was on that many seasons.
I knew it was on for quite a while. So
Patton Oswalt before he was a big, huge comedian.
Yeah. It was
a good show.
It's a good sitcom.
I don't know.
But once again, I would not have remembered the theme song until you played it.
I did.
I did just because I watched it so much. Yeah.
I can picture him drive. Was he a UPS driver? Or something? I can picture him getting on IPS. I'm sorry. I can picture him getting on in the truck and stuff.
It never blew me away.
Yeah.
As a theme song, like it was just it's a theme song.
Yeah, I would personally say this Smallville is better, but it doesn't matter what we say.
That's right.
What did the people vote?
So in our Facebook poll, Smallville took 53% of the vote.
Tight.
So there's a little love out there for King of Queens.
Good.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, and I think I think with King of Queens, it's just so familiar and it's on all the time. Something everybody has watched. Probably quite a few episodes of, so it got a lot of votes.
So now it's moving on against the oldest show on the list, still running, A Family from Springfield. The
Take this one for granted a little bit. Since it's been around so long.
It's funny to listen to it through my headphones with not the visual,
But I'm sure you can picture every frame of it. Danny Elfman was the composer, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Oop.
The Simpsons,
Been on since '89.
Still on.
Yeah, still on. Now it's Disney owned. How about that?
Some customer brought me some books he didn't want anymore. It had a few comics in it, and then there were a few little books. And one was like the unofficial guide to The Simpsons and everything you need to know. Copyright 1990. I was like, this is probably missing a few important parts.
Yeah,
but
nothing happened after season 2.
I will still sit down and watch this. I don't make it a regular habit, but if I'm around on Sunday night and it's a new episode, I still check it out. I still enjoy it.
I never watch
It's not appointment television like it used to be, but
I used to watch. I never faithfully watched it, but I've the older episodes I caught many of them, but I was never an enormous fan of The Simpsons.
Yeah, I watched it for a long time. Pretty, it was Sunday night, 8 o'clock, Fox, for a long, probably 10 years. And then kind of fell out of it, and I probably haven't watched an episode in 10 years, that wasn't a rerun. So, but yeah, I mean, I remember when the Simpsons the first video game came out. I remember playing that, had the theme on it, and yeah, I have a lot of.
They put out albums like the Bartman albums and stuff.
Yeah,
do the Bartman.
Yeah, this was it's so funny because Alicia talks about when she was, when we were young and Simpsons first came out, that was a show she wasn't allowed to watch.
Oh, it was controversial.
And then when we started dating, like 1996, we were seniors in high school, and I remember like, oh, Simpsons, I just watched
And The
it.
Simpsons had already been on
Right.
for 8 seasons or something.
It had already pretty much run its course.
Yeah,
Wow.
and she was like, "Oh yeah, well, we were never allowed to watch it." And I'm like, "Why?" Like I couldn't fathom. I'm like, "It's a cartoon," but
But has since evolved. People quote it now, for the loving family story and the characters who have ingrained very deep religious beliefs. So like it's become like a wholesome family show from a very rebellious, oh dear, the cartoons are cursing and saying eat my shorts, to it's now like an American institution.
and that was the thing. If you remember that first season, it was all Bart.
Yeah.
Bart was he was the star of the show. He was that show would have never lasted had they not figured it out and switched things over to Homer Simpson and went with him more as the main character.
Also, we just had the Washington County Fair, so can you imagine walking through a fair in 1990
Without
and all the knockoff Simpsons merchandise you're going to find?
Wow. So what is it? Is it Simpsons or Smallville?
To me, it's Simpsons. It's just
just because of
too ingrained into America.
I love
America.
So that's what you're saying then, Cliff?
No, this is tough
Oh,
for
don't make
me.
me-
Yeah, do it, Cliff.
I'm saying
Because-
Smallville, so now you got to pick.
Oh gosh,
Aha! I did it.
you did it.
You don't even like Smallville,
I know.
but you don't like The Simpsons either, so that's fair.
I agree that The Simpsons is a more iconic theme song, but I don't. It's whatever. It's
just been around forever.
I know it, but that doesn't mean anything to me.
Yeah,
and I was surprised because I couldn't have told you what the Smallville theme song was, so I really liked it when I heard it the other day.
My gut says Smallville.
Okay.
But yeah,
that's a huge upset.
Simpsons still has huge cult following. People quote every line from every episode. They argue over when it jumped the shark. There's FX plays it 5 nights a week. They've just merchandise still comes out. We got toys and all kind of stuff. So there's no sign of it slowing down.
Well,
so there will be
hit
a few
brick
more
wall on the Ka-Pow.
There'll be a
bracket.
few more years to win you over there.
Okay, so let's see. We're doing places. Let's head to Sunnydale. Is that correct?
Could not listen to this without drumming to this song. By the band Nerf Herder. So it's geeky.
Yeah.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah, so you are a huge fan of this show, correct?
This probably ranks right behind Twilight Zone for my second. We'll get a top 10 out of me before this is all done.
Yeah.
This show.
I already have my list of your top 10 movies.
Sweet. Love Buffy.
How many seasons?
Oh, let's
7?
see.
7.
That's
And then they did like an extra in the
97
comic
to
book.
03.
So like the first season was only like half. It was maybe 13 episodes, something like that, and then it was longer. Went from WB to UPN, so switched networks. But Joss Whedon, Sarah Michelle Gellar. I've talked about this show before. Everyone knows this. It's again, it started something as far as the serialized show. It introduced the concept of the big bad, quote unquote, where there's a villain for every season. But every superhero show does this now, but it built around every season's main story, built around maybe a dozen standalone episodes that were just great. There are some all-time classic episodes in this run, and for my money, no show evolved better than this one. So it introduced these characters at the beginning. They're in high school. She's a novice slayer. Giles the Watcher is her stuffy British caretaker. Her nerdy friend Xander. Her kind of shy, geeky friend Willow. And by the end of this show, they are completely different people. The experiences they have, the trauma they go through, the danger they face changes them all in a way TV is still terrified to do. When they have a popular show, you keep it the same. Keep the same formula. The characters can't, they might be a love triangle, but Buffy was not afraid to make seismic changes to all the characters and let them grow and evolve and become different people. So much the opposite of Smallville, which is why I stopped watching it, because it refused to change what the characters were like. So it's a good to match up with them if it survives this round.
What is it up against, Cliff?
See, you're going to make me eliminate one of these early.
I feel like he planned that out pretty well, didn't he?
Obviously, it's Sunnydale versus Always Sunny. That's all I'm talking about.
It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yes.
Another show I adore.
Yep, so I like both of those theme songs. First off, I was never a Buffy fan. I watched a few episodes, and I will say another thing these both have in common is all the characters stand around in a semicircle. Just sometimes some of them are holding steaks.
Yep.
No, I mean...
Charlie would be holding steak milk, but
Oh,
boiled over hard. Hey, that's a reference nobody gets.
Right.
Yeah. My knowledge of Buffy was pretty much wrapped up in Luke Perry, Christy Swanson, and Paul Rubens.
Yeah.
So It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is about 4 friends who own a bar in Philadelphia. And then in the second season, Danny DeVito shows up and becomes the fifth wheel of the whole operation. And when it first started, it was like, it's like Seinfeld on crack. It's all these 4 friends who are awful to other people, but they can get away with so much because it's cable. And it's so much more than that. They have built these characters. It almost feels like improv at times, but like they've so grown into these characters that they know how each other would react in character. And it's just, the writing is so sharp. And yes, it's crass and crude. And yes, it has elements of that toxic fandom, people who love this show because it's not PC and it says horrible things. But they're doing it to show you how awful these people are. And there is absolutely no growth. These people, they don't learn lessons. They don't understand the error of their ways. They never pay in any way. There's no comeuppance. They do awful things to awful people, and they're back the next week doing the same thing. So it's vulgar and horrible and hilarious, and I love it.
So which one? What's your vote?
Well, Sonny, it's actually a piece of public domain music.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought it was created
you
for
will
the
sometimes
show.
hear that on other things. There's some commercial, like a credit card commercial, uses that music. I'm like, don't buy that credit card. It's probably stolen from these guys from Philly.
I didn't know that because I was kind of leaning that way because I like them both about even, but I thought that was at least for the show. But
so I'm guessing it was the cheapest option they had because this was a very shoestring production at the very beginning. So it wasn't written for the show. Buffy, it's Buffy all the way for me.
Yeah, I go Buffy.
I like the idea that it's public domain, Sonny.
Yeah, well, all good. The Buffy moves on.
Yep.
So we got Buffy against Smallville.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but to reiterate,
Buffy
I
is easy.
stopped watching Smallville at exactly episode 100. We can do a whole other episode. We can do some Patreon content, me explaining why. But it was because in episode 100, they did something huge that was going to change everything. And then by the end of the episode, they undid it.
Yeah.
And they just went back to, oh, well, Lex isn't quite a bad guy. Oh, Lana's still going to act this way. And they chickened out. And I was like, I'm done. And it was because I had watched so much Buffy, and I expect actions to have consequences. So,
Yeah.
Buffy all the way for me.
I admire your staunch stance.
I would have said Smallville just because I love the fact, and Smallville has a big following of people that watch it for it's like Riverdale. It's ridiculous. We know it's ridiculous. We laugh at it. We accept it for what it is, and
When it was so earnest, it took itself so seriously. Those goofy
It did.
costumes, like it was trying so hard to be a good show.
and it had a great cast. I mean,
Yeah,
John Glover and of course Tom Welling and Bo Duke himself. Like, and it had oh gosh, I can't think of her name now. She was in Superman. She played Lana in Superman 3, I think. But and then she played Ma Kent in Small. I love the cast on this show. That had a great. At that time, it was one of my favorite portrayals of Lex Luthor. I thought he had a good look, and the way it tried to explore the relationship between those two. That's what the show should have continued on doing more. But yeah, as far as Street's theme song, it was Smallville. So whatever.
Yep. So Buffy wins.
You voted
Yeah,
Buffy.
I voted Buffy.
Yay.
So, okay. Point Place, Wisconsin. It's from 98 to 06, that 70s show.
It's a great theme song.
You were just talking about
I
Jill
really
again.
enjoy it.
I just caught, they played in syndication quite a lot, and I just happened to see, it was like season 8, episodes 21 and 22, or whatever, the last 2 episodes were on one night. And I'm like, I never did stick with this all the way through, so I want to know how it ended. So I literally just watched a couple episodes.
I don't remember how it ended. But
It was weird. The cast had changed a
I was
lot.
thinking Eric wasn't even on there.
No, Ashton
anymore.
Kutcher
Yeah.
was not on it. Topher Grace was not on it, but they
Yeah.
were all still hanging out at their parents' house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it made no sense.
Yeah.
I think they brought in a cousin or something, didn't they?
Seth Meyers' brother, Josh Myers,
Okay.
was just their new friend who was hanging out, dating Donna. Just had long 70s hair. It was weird.
Yeah. That was a pretty good show.
I enjoy it whenever I catch
Yeah,
it on. Like
yeah,
that.
It clearly jumped the shark at some point, but before that, everything was really good. That original cast, I always enjoyed it.
And it's kind of weird. Probably, what's her name? Mila Kunis
Yeah.
has become the biggest star out of that whole
And she's married to Ashton
show. Yeah.
Kutcher now.
So I mean, Ashton Kutcher's very famous, but Mila Kunis is still in big
she
movies. and
she
stuff,
stars on her own merit.
All right, somewhere a little closer to home.
All this energy calling me back where it comes from. It's such a crude attitude. It's back where it belongs. All the little chicks with the crimson lips go Cleveland rocks, living in sin with the safety.
I can picture them all dancing.
Running through the streets. Yeah.
Drew Carey repping his hometown.
Yeah, he's a big Cleveland fan, and This is I think it's Presidents of the United States of America is the band, which I love. The Lump.
I have not thought of them in a while, but
Peaches.
I like it.
Yeah. This is the easiest pick for me. Like, I like the theme songs of that 70s show, but that song, Cleveland Rocks, is great.
Yeah, it's a great song.
Especially for fans of Cleveland.
I know, this is weird because I'm like the biggest.
This is easy for me, and I assumed this was a.
No,
Wow, he's not a fan.
Wow. No, I am a fan. Like, I really like both of these. Like, you cannot go wrong.
Did you watch the show?
Yeah, we watched Drew Carey. We didn't watch a lot of it when it was like
originally on.
Yeah, it was a lot more syndication.
I had kind of forgot about the show, really.
Yeah,
but I think I really watched a bunch of this when it was on. I thought they were very funny, and when you look back, that cast, that's a good cast, you know.
Oh yeah, Diedrich Bader. Yeah, I mean,
it's good.
Come on,
come
on, man.
Exactly, come on. It was a good, funny show. Great ensemble. So
yeah, I'm the same way. I only saw it kind of in later years. I never watched the original run.
I don't remember what it was like, what it played against on the nightly lineup or whatever.
I actually realized, because that made a difference. Like, you sometimes had to pick.
Right, exactly. And I feel like whatever it was up against, I picked.
Kids today don't have to pick. I realized this listening to these last couple episodes that I now understand a lot of these shows on ABC I didn't watch because it didn't come in well on our rabbit ears.
Yeah.
We got NBC fine, PBS, CBS usually, but ABC was iffy.
Yeah.
So a lot of these ABC shows, it was because it didn't come in very well. It was all staticky, so I would watch other stuff. So yeah, that made that and what night it was on and when it was on made a big difference on what your favorite shows were.
It really did. I think I'm voting that 70s show.
Wow. This is the
Upset.
biggest surprise
Upset.
I've seen. I don't care who wins. I just am blown away that you did not pick the Cleveland song.
Yeah.
And it's a good song.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
I love it, but
I assume they play that at sporting events, and I assume it's still a big.
Oh, he had when the Browns came back in '99, he did a special episode where, they were going to the first Browns game
or something. Like, I cannot fathom this.
Until Cleveland wins a championship, we cannot crown this.
We won one in 2016.
What are you saying, Jordan?
I'm sure I've watched way more of that 70s show than I have Drew Carey.
Yeah.
And I let them all in the car singing along.
Yeah.
It just felt like a teenage sort of, But I don't know where Cliff's coming. But
that guitar at the beginning, ding, 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 is so good in Cleveland Rocks. It's just
Cleveland.
It's great.
Oh, I'm Cleveland.
Okay, so we got one more matchup down there. So let's see, we're going to Colorado.
I'm going down south, I'm gonna have myself a time.
Friendly faces everywhere, humble folks without temptation.
Going down south, I'm gonna leave my woes behind.
People starting howling bye-bye.
Heading on up south, I'm gonna see if I can't unwind.
Okay.
Come on down south, I can meet some friends of mine.
I haven't watched this forever. It's still on, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Do you still watch it?
I do.
It's like you didn't want to admit that.
I guess I'm going to reveal this now.
It has. I defended it for years. It debuted when I was in high school, and it was the biggest thing. It was like Simpsons in '89.
Yeah.
When South
huge.
Park hit,
Huge.
every kid my age was obsessed with the show. Every kid had a South Park shirt, and the school's like, "Oh, should we allow them to wear these shirts?" Like, it was one of those controversial things, like Bart. And nothing was bigger than this show in the junior high school world. And then everyone got out of it. No one cared anymore. And I kept being like, guys, it's still a good show. Like, it's saying a lot of things about politics, and it's got its finger on the pulse of pop culture, and it's doing things. If you remember, like the week Obama was elected, that would have been a Tuesday. Wednesday night was an episode about Obama being elected. Like, for an animated show, the turnaround is literally a day or two.
Well, have you one of the best documentaries is that show. I don't know what it's called, 8 Days.
6 Days to Air. It was called.
Yeah. Have you ever seen that, Cliff?
Bill
Hader was on that too. Like he was there that week and helped him work on it or something. Like they turned a show out in less than a week. It was amazing. It was amazing.
So just I stuck with it, and it was the satire of it, the humor of it. Again, a very crass show.
Yeah, everybody else was like, we're done with South Park, but you're like Cartman. And you're like, I'm going home to watch.
Screw you guys, I'm going home.
And I'm going home.
You have to let me know what.
We're trying to screw you guys home.
we've
Is
thrown
it safe
him off.
to talk now?
Yeah. Screw you guys home.
You gotta let me know.
That was funny.
Kidding.
Yeah.
But in recent years, I have started to feel that, like, okay, it's a little much. Like, they're making these hot takes and these bold statements that's like, okay, it's starting to rub me the wrong way a little bit. I've still watched them all, but I'm not proud of myself.
We can tell when you announced it earlier.
Did this come out in 97?
Let's see. Yeah, 97 to
that explains
today.
Because I missed out on it. Like, I graduated in 97.
Yeah.
A month after.
I have a blank spot there after I graduated. It was like where you were actually living a life.
Right. Well, I remember we graduated high school. My wife and I moved out, got our first apartment a month later. And, of course, we didn't have cable TV.
Yeah.
So we barely had a television. So I remember, like, maybe a year
they
later.
Were just digging up toys to play with.
Right, exactly. I think a year later, like, they put some episodes out, the first episodes on, like, VHS. And we went to the video store and rented them to see what it was all about.
Yeah.
So.
It's good. I liked it. Let's head to a newer show in Hawkins, Indiana.
It's kind of an 80s vibe to it.
Yeah, just a little bit.
A little synth.
Yeah, I'll admit when I was first looking through the bracket just a little while ago, this one stands out for me.
Yeah. It's really good. Stranger Things just finished third season this year. It's it's a great opening theme, and you can just picture the red Stephen King font lettering coming up, and yeah, it's great. So, of course, we have all watched all 3 seasons.
Oh yeah. Immediately.
We enjoy the show.
I
some
love
parts better than others, but I like that it's a show, and not everything on that list on this list can I say. So I don't know which one. I think Stranger Things is going to be an iconic theme, but it's not.
I think it already is.
Yeah.
I mean, this is Stranger Things is for only being 3 seasons, 3 years out. Like, it's a must-see event on when a new season drops. Yeah, people are waiting. Here on the East Coast, they're staying up till 3 a.m. so they can binge watch it and taking off work the next day just so they can be immediately consume it.
Right.
And that 80s feel is the core of the show, which is what the theme song sets up. I think get the tone and the tenor of it right away.
In this era of so much retro and throwback and reboots and all this stuff, I think Stranger Things captures that era of time better than pretty much any show.
I like it. I like anything that is like a period piece that goes to a different time and does. I love that kind of stuff and how all the details and things like that. So, yeah, I mean, the music blows the South Park theme out of the water. It's just whether you have any super nostalgia for it. I was gonna see if Jordan had anything else to say about it. Otherwise, it's a done deal. It's Stranger Things. Cliff and I.
Yeah, I could make an argument for South Park being that, the each kid gets a line, like you get their personality out of it. It's a fun, bouncy tune. It's irreverent. It was Primus. Did we say that out front? The band,
No,
band Primus is the one who did it. But Trey Parker is a wonderful musician. He's had, Broadway hits and stuff. Like, the music on South Park is terrific. Any plot that's lacking makes up. Anytime there's a piece of music, he parodies stuff so well and like riffs off stuff. One of my favorite music cues ever. They did this gothy like Cure spoof,
Right.
"Burn Down the Hot Topic." It's when all the parents were afraid of.
Where's Cliff gonna get his Riverdale stuff?
That's right. I don't like it already.
The kids were buying all this gothy vampire stuff at Hot Topic. Burn down the Hot Topic. And it was so on point. It sounded like, it came right out of that era. But that it's not Trey doing the theme song. It's a whole other band. So I would go Stranger Things.
All right, to sweep. All right, that makes a tough matchup here. Stranger Things versus the Drew Carey Show. Again, this is not an original song to the show. It's President's. Right. I like both of these a lot. We obviously know what Cliff's picking. He's Stranger Things because he didn't want to go with Drew Carey in the first place. So it's if either of us, if we want to defy him, or I'm just gonna screw you again, Jordan. I'm going Drew Carey Show.
For a show I didn't watch religiously, but yeah, the theme song always was funky and
it's fun.
I always enjoyed it. Yeah.
Just give us just the beginning of it again.
All this energy calling me back where it comes from.
That's where it's at. That's the part that is the best.
And then you get the whole cast out there and a choreographed dance.
I mean, the mood of the Stranger Things intro is perfect for the show. Mm-hmm. Sets up that creepy feeling, but I don't know if it lives up. I like them. I really like them both about evenly, but I'm just going with.
Now, I really should be playing the long game on this because this has to go up against Buffy. So I should probably try and pick the thing I think Buffy could beat, but I'm not playing that game. I'm playing straightforward.
Well, that is good, Cliff.
Yeah.
Okay, slip that in there on me.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Stranger Things.
All right.
I think it's too perfect. It's simple, but it's very effective in what it does.
It sets that mood for right. Ooh,
Ooh,
gosh! Come on! Come on!
All right, so
let's name the cast.
So Justin, come on!
Buffy versus Stranger Things, then?
Buffy the Vampire Slayer versus Stranger Things. Probably took some influence from that, I would guess, if you'd ask the Duffer Brothers.
Let's hear a little bit of it.
And the theme song does a good job. Like, you hear the howl, and it sounds like a horror movie when it starts. And the theme song, the images do the same thing. There's an old dusty book that says Vampire, Vampyre, and it looks like an old horror movie. And then the rock guitars kick in, and you realize, oh, this is a modern spin on something. This is taking old imagery and old horror tropes and turning them into something modern and fresh. So, to me, the song balances that. It's the horror scares and pop attitude. You could trademark it.
My thing with Buffy, because
you're gonna bust my Buffy balloon.
No, I'm not trying to. I watched a few episodes. I think towards the end, I never watched the show because it always felt like when you see the commercial for it, because it was. I always thought it was just in syndication. I didn't realize it was actually on like a network. So I just assumed it was like one of those cheap syndicated Babylon 5 or something like that.
I will definitely say if you never watched it, like, I do not blame you. I don't think I watched it maybe the second season. just till I happened to catch an episode and realize it wasn't that.
Yeah.
And in the years since, I can't tell you how many people have recommended me things. I don't want to throw any shows under the bus, but like they'll say, "Oh, you should watch this. I know you like Buffy," and it's Charmed and things like that's like
shows there you go. Yeah,
shows that aren't for me. They might be great. I don't know,
but do you see the similarities?
Yeah, but people they think that's what Buffy is, and it's not. Buffy is beyond any of that.
Well, then I let's see. Buffy versus Stranger Things. I don't know. I like them both a lot.
Yeah,
I feel like it's coming down to me. Did you guys officially vote? I know you're Buffy.
I'm officially Buffy.
I'm Stranger Things. You knew
I'd
that was going to happen.
Take a shot that you would just go with it.
I know we're doing modern, and it sounds silly, but I feel like
that we should have a modern show. Actually,
no. I feel like there are very I'm in my head. I compare it to the last episode we did, and I'm like, okay, what compares to Gilligan's Island, Beverly Hillbillies, stuff like that, and I'm like, there's not too many.
I would think this is probably going to be the weakest bracket because there's not any classic things. It's not been long enough for
they do not
see what
have,
holds up.
They do not have history to lend that extra.
So I'm looking at what's going to stand up, what's going to hold up. For me.
The test of time.
Yeah.
And Buffy already has. It's pretty old. No, it wouldn't break my heart. Stranger Things. I voted for it last round, so it wouldn't break my heart.
I'm gonna go Buffy.
Oh,
I'm not even a big fan of that show because I know it's. I watched some of it, but I think just because I kind of feel like it's like a lot of those shows, even though you're telling me it's not. When I believe you, and it does have a following that made Joss Whedon famous for having done something special with it. So I just really have to go off the theme songs, and I love both of them. I guess the Buffy theme is a new love for me, so maybe that's why I like it more.
I will say both of my brothers have rewatched it since the original heyday, and I have been a little scared too, afraid that it doesn't match that memory I have of it. But I'll see clips or moments or think, and to me it's still great. So I shouldn't fear that, but there might be some dated type things, especially Joss Whedon hasn't aged so great in his public persona. So,
all right, so we're gonna head over to the Northeast bracket with the play-in. What the people have to choose from. They well, what's the first one there?
Yes, no, maybe. I don't know. Can you repeat the question? You're not the boss of me now. You're not the boss of me now. You're not the boss of me now. And you're not so big. You're not the boss of me now. You're not the boss of me now. You're not the boss of me now. And you're not so big. Life is unfair.
I'll tell you, when I was looking at lists, this is Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah,
if you didn't know, if it looking at lists of theme songs, this is a favorite of people. People love this. Theme song.
That's a good theme song, and I love that ending to it.
It really sets up the flavor of the show. I don't know. I didn't look see who is it.
They Might Be Giants.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't watch a ton of the show, but enough. It was on from 2000 to 2006.
Okay,
Bryan Cranston.
Yeah.
Obviously was a big part of the show.
Frankie Muniz.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched a lot of this in probably the first 2 or 3 seasons. We watched it a lot. And then when my daughter got a little bit older, we have this running joke in my family with her. The shows she loves, forgive me, but they're like white trash TV. It's Malcolm in the Middle.
The Middle.
Yeah.
Is that also in there?
She loves The Middle.
That show is similar to this. Like, it's having the one weird kid that just sits there and says something.
Right. And My Name is Earl. There was another show on Fox, and I always forget the name of it because I always call it Mama.
I don't know.
But she would watch these same types of shows over and over. So she discovered Malcolm, and
Jordan's, it's coming to him.
Baby.
Yes, had the baby, and they had to Raising Hope.
Yes,
Raising Hope.
Garrett Dillahunt.
Yeah. I don't like any of those shows except
I like
the middle. I like the middle, but there's something about that type of show that I don't like. I don't know.
I'm with you, Carly. I love shows about poor people.
Yeah.
There's only so much I can take of certain shows about friends living in New York who have $1 million apartments, and all my problems are so... Oh, shut up. You don't have to worry about paying the rent. I like shows about lower class folks.
Well...
Salt of the earth folks.
Yeah. Then you'll easily pick it over this other one. We had a write-in from a little listener named Jordan Lowe.
Boom, indeed.
So I guarantee nobody knows what that is.
Yeah, I have no idea what I just listened to.
From 06
It's
to 09.
called Fired Up.
From 6 to 9. Nice. Do you know how many episodes there were of that show?
69.
Nice.
Because I just looked at IMDb. Yeah.
Funny I should ask. Tell them all about it.
It is called The Unit.
It's your big chance.
When the Poobah first said, hey, I'd like to do a thing about TV theme songs. And if you have any, you should probably... And I said, The Unit! Be sure to put The Unit in there. And they said, the what now? I talked about this show before. Anytime I can reference it, but never in depth. And I won't do that now, even though it's literally my last chance to do so. This was a CBS show. Again, I understand why no one's heard of it. There are a lot of these shows. David Boreanaz is in a show right now about Navy SEALs. Like, it's a procedural kind of CBS show about soldiers. But I have a soft spot in my heart for Robert Patrick. I will watch anything he is in at least once to give it a chance. And I see, hey, there's a show coming out with Robert Patrick in it. Let's give that a chance, even though it's on CBS. I tune in to find out it is created by David Mamet, acclaimed playwright, movie filmmaker, writer, director. Wrote and directed Glengarry Glen Ross is one of your top 100 movies.
Yes.
So you should be listening. The Spanish Prisoner, Wag the Dog, Spartan, which is an incredible movie with Val Kilmer in it. If you haven't seen that, I recommend it. His co-creator on the show is Sean Ryan, who created The Shield.
I've always felt like that I should have watched that show. I missed it.
Another one of those with The Sopranos, kind of the start of that anti-hero cable
that really,
show.
yeah, that's true. Now that you're saying that, that does make me think that was definitely the same time. It might have even been first, yeah.
So more people, I'm sure, got to see The Shield because it was on,
right?
Not pay cable. So yeah, here's two acclaimed creators creating this show. It is based on the book Inside Delta Force by Eric L. Haney. Guy wrote this biography about his time as an operator, a special, this is basically as close as you get to G.I. Joe on TV, okay? I'm just going to say it. So it is Dennis Haysbert.
Now we know.
It is Scott Foley as the young recruit coming onto his team. Robert Patrick is the colonel who runs it. It is an off-the-books, no accountability. It's Delta Force. They are, when
elite fighting force.
And if you can find them, you can hire them. No, but if there's a plane been hijacked, or a senator's kid has been kidnapped in the Middle East. So every episode, it's fairly what do you call it?
Yes, procedural.
It's very procedural. The fourth season went off the rails a little bit. They tried to do an overarching story. The vice president got assassinated.
They brought in ninjas. I've seen G.I. Joe before.
It got a little. The fourth season got off the rails. But the cool thing it did, it also focused on the wives at home. So it had the guys out on a mission, but then it dealt with home life as well. And it got to deal with some issues like, the having to get part-time jobs because the Army doesn't pay enough, or having to deal with insurance problems that they weren't covered. Supporting our troops, the veterans, the VA, and all this stuff. So it got both sides of things, and sometimes it was a little bit silly and over the top, but it was never America. Yeah, it wasn't ultra patriotic. Go go go. It had some criticisms, but never about the men themselves, and just about these ultra capable unit operators. And it was a hugely lopsided vote in the Facebook poll.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter what we thought.
It will
86% Malcolm in the middle.
Right.
But it's surely streaming out there somewhere. So if you ever see the unit anywhere, it has my full recommendation.
Yeah. Well, it's up against...
I have code names, too.
Ooh.
Dennis Haysbert is Snake Doctor. Cool Breeze, Dirt Diver, Whiplash.
Those are G.I. Joe names.
Yeah, they are.
Oh my gosh. Well, this next one, it's up against... If you'd ever watched the show, we've all definitely absorbed the words to this one.
Are you ready, kids?
Aye, aye, Captain!
I can't hear you.
Aye, aye, Captain!
Oh! Who lives in a pineapple under the sea?
SpongeBob SquarePants!
Absorbent and yellow and porous is he.
SpongeBob SquarePants!
If nautical nonsense be something you wish,
SpongeBob SquarePants!
then drop on the deck and flop like a fish.
SpongeBob SquarePants!
Ready? SpongeBob SquarePants! SpongeBob SquarePants! SpongeBob SquarePants! SpongeBob SquarePants!
Now,
You'll notice none of us said it. We just listened to that. This is the most we paid attention to a theme song yet. We were like, I'm into this.
I gave my wife a hard time about not being allowed to watch Simpsons back in the day, and we would not let our children watch SpongeBob.
Really?
No.
Why?
My son, after watching like an hour of SpongeBob, I swear he got dumber. Like, for the rest of the day, I'm like, what is wrong with you? When he was a little kid, and we were just like, I'm like, no more SpongeBob. Like, you are literally getting dumber every minute you watch this.
That is a weird reason.
Well, it also, I believe it's still on. Are they still making new ones?
Yeah.
Maybe that's what's wrong with
Started
the world.
in 99, it's still on.
Maybe it's all been SpongeBob's fault.
Yeah.
We'll write a parenting book.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
So, yeah, I think people a little bit younger than us, like, this was their jam, and probably still is. They love it. You can't turn on the internet without seeing the SpongeBob.
I bet we see something SpongeBob every day, whether we like it or not.
Literally every day, yeah.
That's crazy. So
and
it's
a funny
good
song,
theme song.
catchy.
A lot. That's one of the reasons for its longevity is the theme song. Like, I feel like everybody knows it. It's just it's got a hold of you. I mean, obviously, it's not because you love the theme song. It's just so easy to know and learn. And anyway, I don't know. It's very iconic. I never was a big Malcolm in the Middle fan, although that is a good theme song.
I watched quite a bit of Malcolm in the Middle. I have nostalgia for that, definitely more than SpongeBob. And I'm a They Might Be Giants fan. Mm-hmm. Flood is one of the best albums, or my favorite albums of all time. So I'm going Malcolm.
Oh yeah, I don't have to bet. All right, so we have the winner of that's going up against animated matchup.
It seems today that all you see is violence in movies and sex on TV.
But where are those good old-fashioned values on which we used to rely? Lucky there's a family guy. Lucky there's a man who positively can do all the things that make us laugh and cry. He's a family guy.
I think. Haven't you said before you don't like Family Guy?
I watched it at the beginning. I think it was another cultural hit.
Yeah,
it got canceled.
Yeah, it got canceled. And came back. Like, people were like, "Wait a minute, that was pretty good."
And it was on Adult Swim and had huge ratings on the reruns, so they brought it back. Like I said about South Park, how I held on for a long time until it started to rub me the wrong way. Family Guy started rubbing me the wrong way much, much earlier, so I kind of bailed on it.
Yeah, I'm definitely not seeing half the episodes. It's just one of those that I just got sick of because they really just did the same thing constantly. I kind of liked what it was they were doing for a while, but you can only watch. It has no reason for it to be on its 18th season. It's still coming out. I don't think it should have been canceled as early as it was, but it should have been canceled by now.
Yeah.
It definitely didn't deserve this much life afterwards.
But just those, like, quote-unquote edgy jokes that are like, oh, we're saying something you're not allowed to say, but we're doing it. We know it's super racist.
Right.
We're saying something about racism. It's like, no, you're really not. You're just telling a racist joke, but getting away with it.
Yeah, there was things like that I didn't care for. There's other jokes, the more stupid,
Oh, there's some good stuff. There's some very funny stuff.
Yeah, there definitely is.
Just the simplicity of that.
Speaking of memes,
he's running home, falls down, and then just stops for 20 seconds.
Well, that was their bread and butter of like keeping a joke going until it's okay. It's not fun anymore, and then just keep going until it comes back.
Fighting the chicken or whatever, those kind of things. That's what I liked about the show.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's up against a worldwide phenomenon.
Yeah, and this one goes out to one special listener as well.
Oh, that's true.
I wanna be the very best, like no one ever was. To catch them is my real test, to train them is my cause. I will travel across the land, searching far and wide. Each Pokemon to understand the power that's inside.
You love this? I love it.
I think it's like 6 minutes long as well.
Yeah, you know what though? It does just listening to it, because I couldn't tell you last time I've ever heard that. But it has a very Saturday morning cartoon feel to it.
Yeah, my son was a big Pokemon fan, and I was like, I think I'll have this on the list because I think it's, when you look up a list, this is on lists of people's favorite theme songs. So it's like it's very catchy. I was never, obviously we were too old for Pokemon, but Mike, like I said, Nick loved it, and he was like, I love that theme song.
That was pointed out to me this week.
Right. Oh, we're too old.
That we're too old.
Christian, I heard you when you said we were probably too old to have this on our list. Well, we did have it on our list.
Yeah.
And I'm voting against it.
I did not know about this. It was already on the list, but not just because I found it somewhere else on other lists.
Yeah, he came in to give me grief about having Reading Rainbow go so far, and then said, "Well, you're probably too old to know what's really the best song." So
I could see why this could be.
We are not too old.
How do you criticize Reading Rainbow?
Yeah, I don't know.
That hurts my heart a little bit.
Because you're too
there.
old, Cliff.
Yeah, you're too old. Your old ticker. It hurts your ticker.
Wow.
Anyway, I think it's a really good theme song, and I'm just going to tell you, I pick it over Family Guy.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
I'm voting against it in protest, but I guess that doesn't matter.
You're an old. All right, so that puts the Pokemon theme song against Malcolm in the Middle. How do you guys feel about that?
It's Malcolm for me. I'm riding that horse this far. I'll stick with it.
Yeah, I do. It is a good one.
And it had there's them watching TV, and you saw old cartoons, and old wrestling. It felt like you're tuning in for a good family time.
All right, so now we're going down to the bottom part of the Northeast bracket with a couple sitcoms.
Men, 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 manly men, 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 manly men, men, men,
men, men, men, manly men,
men, men, men, men, manly men, men, men,
that's a very well-known theme song. Whether you watch much of the show or not, you know right away what show it is.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
2.5 Men. Again, not one I saw every episode of. I probably saw one with Ashton Kutcher in it. Did you guys watch much of this?
Not very much. It would be on every once in a while when, like, maybe a background just as I'm doing something, you know.
I'll be honest. I watched a lot of it because it had the most gorgeous women on it. Every episode there was like some beautiful woman somebody's unrealistically dating. I don't know what John Cryer was doing with any of these. But it was fine. It was fine.
Never liked it. I don't like Chuck Lorre. I don't like the whole this show's.
Didn't he write the theme to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Did he?
I'm pretty sure he did.
It's pretty brazen to bring that up without knowing for sure, because we got thrown that in his face.
Somebody should check on that.
But yeah, this is on some channel every hour of the day. I'm sure it's in syndication around the clock. And I always catch the last minute, before something else comes on or whatever.
It was on for like 13 years or something. Forever.
Constantly reinforces what I'm glad I didn't watch that.
All right, what's up against
Teenage Mutant?
It's got a little Belvedere vibe to it.
It does have a little bassoon or something. Yeah, HBO, Larry David, Curb Your Enthusiasm. I didn't watch the early seasons. I'm sure I have HBO at the time. It's been on since 2000.
That's actually what I was gonna say. Is like I was aware of the show. I knew how critically acclaimed it was, but I didn't have HBO at that time, and I never really went back and watched any of them.
It's unscripted. It's heavily plotted, but unscripted, and they they will film and refilm scenes because nobody has lines memorized because there's no lines. So they spend plenty of time on that. But what's her name? Cheryl Hines, is that who played his wife on the show? She would always be oblivious to what his character was doing, and the way they made that natural, they wouldn't give her any part of the story beforehand other than what her character would know. So whatever's going on, she was really oblivious to. I thought that was funny. I've watched the last couple seasons that have been on HBO because they brought it back.
Yeah,
and I like it. It's a good show.
A season that was basically a Seinfeld reunion.
Yeah,
brought a cast from Seinfeld into it.
Yeah, because Larry David was,
and we've used
wrote most of the episodes of Seinfeld.
We have used his catchphrase plenty of times.
So how'd it go?
Good. Pretty good. Pretty.
Oh, just on and on. Pretty. I like the Curb song better than 2.5 Men. Enough. I'm gonna vote against him.
Yeah, not my favorite show. Not something I tuned in for every episode. But I get that they will use that music. They'll drop it into there'll be a clip on YouTube, and they'll drop that in as it's the punchline of a joke now.
Yeah.
So it has outlived even its source material. So that's a pretty easy vote for me then.
Absolutely.
So Curb
moves on, and it is up against another couple of sitcoms. I would say this is going to be so easy, but we've got
really.
I
don't think this is easy.
What are we even doing here?
What?
Jordan, do you feel what I'm saying? Like, he blew me away with the Cleveland thing. But okay.
Let's let it play out. Let history decide.
Yeah, let's play the first one.
Our whole universe was in a hot, dense state that nearly 14 billion years ago expansion started. Wait, the earth began to cool, the autotrophs began to drool, Neanderthals developed tools, we built a wall, we built the pyramids. Math, science, history, unraveling the mystery that all started with a big bang.
Okay, now Cliff. Obviously, it's Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
Go on. I want to hear your 5-minute diatribe about how you love this theme song.
No, my thought is, well, yeah, I like Bare Naked Ladies as a band. Okay. But I think
don't tell what the other one is. I just want to hear why this one you love this.
I've never been against this show. Like
I'm not against the show. Yeah. It's fine. I'm just saying you're not sick of this or anything. Like I don't know.
I think this is a very popular show.
Yes.
And I think along with that, and part of that is people love this theme song.
I'll give you that. I guess it's not bad.
I might just blow your mind too.
You love this.
It's a good song.
It's a good song.
It's fine.
I
guess I'm
very
sick
much,
of it.
I thought
it's a modern day Beverly Hillbillies.
right.
And then it's not for everyone.
Yeah.
But I'm not a fan of this show. I don't think it's any secret. I try not to rage against it. If you like something, I try not to.
Yeah, I like the show for the most part, but
I don't not like it because of the theme song. Like I still tap my foot. It's still a catchy song.
Yeah, it's a band I enjoy. I enjoy other music they've put out through the years. Yeah. I think they did something neat last year at the last season of the show. The very last episode, the last scene of the show, it played the theme song as they all sat around, you know, like they did in every episode in the living room with the, Chinese food or a meal or whatever and their usual spots. I thought that was a neat thing because
I'm as many haters as there are. There's plenty to like about the show. I like it.
Yeah.
I think what people are going to understand why I'm surprised is because the other one, when I wrote it down, I thought, here's Cliff's number one. This is the number one seed because of Cliff.
Do you guys remember way back in the So Pro Ho 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 Christmas bracket show when you guys threw an absolute fit because I put together it was like Rudolph versus Charlie Brown or something like that, and you guys were like, "How can you do this? How we shouldn't have to pick." That was the kind of matchup I'm looking at right here.
It was Rudolph Grinch because I still have not forgiven you.
Yeah,
but I feel like that's what you did right here. These two should not be up against each other in round one.
I don't know. Okay, well, I'm going Office. It's easy for me.
The Office is one of the best sitcoms ever made.
Fact.
Yeah.
But the song, I don't know. It's never been like, oh yeah, that Office tune. Like I don't sing along with it, or
you don't have words made up to it like everybody else.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously it's a sentimental favorite. It's because I love the show. It's one of my favorite shows ever, and everybody knows that theme song.
Yeah,
what show it's from, just like the other one. The other one's a good song. I don't care.
The Office is without a doubt my absolute favorite television show of all time. I have never felt love for a TV show the way I immediately felt for this show. And
this is going to become our new G.I. Joe Transformers question.
Are you Big Bang Theory or The Office? Yeah, and I mean, my vote's definitely The Office. Without a doubt, it's The Office. But I just felt like this was an unfair matchup.
I genuinely, I'm kind of glad I didn't have to tiebreak that because an argument could be made that the Big Bang Theory theme song.
It's a great theme song.
Okay,
I'm
lost.
And The Office is The Office is great.
On long enough.
Pizza with music.
We got The Office versus Curb. Again, I'm going The Office.
I go Curb.
I'm not somebody that's going to say Office all the way to the end.
Well, maybe you need to get on that train because that's where we're going.
I don't even know what train you're on. But I definitely like it better than Curb.
Yeah, I definitely like The Office. I like The Office theme. It's catchy. Everybody knows it. Everybody hums along every time. I don't skip over it. Even though I watch that show every single night. I watch 3 episodes a night when I go to bed.
Wow.
So
Office gets past Curb. Now it's Office versus Malcolm in the Middle, and I'm going Office.
It doesn't matter then, because
you don't know what he's going to say.
Go ahead.
You don't know what he's going to say.
Convince me.
I don't think he will just automatically do that.
The show, The Office, is better than anything on this list. But for a theme song, I adore that Malcolm in the Middle.
There's no, it could win, no problem. I'm just saying, I like the Office song better. So I could see Cliff going that.
I definitely like the Malcolm theme song. I really do. I just don't think.
So I'm going to vote Malcolm and make you have to push it through. If you think The Office deserves it, you can push it through.
That's how it should work.
And I will not.
You're not going to pitch a fit like
usual?
usual?
Would not offend me one bit. Because it's great. It's great too. There's no losers here.
Only winners. And the winner is The Office.
Okay. Got one more section left. Let's see. Oh, this is the last play in here. We put this up. So, yeah, what do the people have to listen to?
Might sound familiar.
Some of you are saying, Ka-Pow's not a TV show. Well, I may have famously said, hey, let's steal that theme song from that long-running show from 2017 to 2017. Powerless.
I kind of hate admitting this.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure people thought everyone knew.
Yeah, we used to have a different theme song.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what it was.
I honestly do not know how it went.
But yeah,
but anyway, I had this great idea.
Yeah.
The show ended. I was like, Cliff, you need to get that whistling thing.
Because hey, if the show's dead, we had to keep some part of it alive.
I feel like we have done something.
We enjoyed the show. It was getting better.
We did a good thing here.
Right.
We brought it back to life. Now I did say,
as long as YouTube doesn't flag it.
Right. I did say if this next show ever ended, I wanted to steal its theme song if we got bored with the other, because I really like this thing, because it pumps me up every time I watch this show.
Mm-hmm.
And they always, like, before they play the theme song, it's always this football coach, and he's giving this pep talk. This season it's John Gruden, and he's like got everybody one of the episodes, and he's telling them, oh yeah, you got dreams? Well, I'm not about dreams, I'm about nightmares. And he's like, we're not trying to go to the Orange Bowl, we're not trying to go to the Blue Bonnet Bowl or the Toilet Bowl or whatever he says. We're trying to go to the Super Bowl.
Got a lot of HBO on here.
I watch a lot of HBO.
Yeah, so Facebook,
they took it out of our hands. Nobody knew.
Did we even say what that was?
Oh, Hard Knocks. Hard Knocks. Show on HBO about shows you behind the scenes. They pick a team each year.
Training camp.
Follow them through training camp and on through the preseason. And you got to get to know the players, and usually gives a lot of hype to that team for the year. And this year they're doing the Oakland Raiders,
getting you ready for the football.
Yeah. So
the Oakland Raiders just happen to be my brother Justin's favorite football team, and he adores. They use that song, "The Autumn Wind."
They recite.
It's like a poem
over. Yeah, they recite it over the.
Yes.
The
so
autumn wind.
I have heard the autumn wind is a raider my whole life.
Yeah.
So Justin, who was on a previous episode recently, he wasn't invited to this one, but he did provide he reimagined this poem.
Reimagined.
So let me read it for you.
Are you supposed to recite it over the theme song?
Yeah, do we have to
hit the theme song?
Hold on.
Let me say it. Recite it over.
Do you have the autumn wind?
No, he's just going to play. He recited over the theme song.
Yeah, over the Hard Knocks.
The pop-cultured man is a pirate, blustering into his mic. With a stolen theme song, he bumbles along, podcasting stuff that he likes. Whether movies or streaming or gaming, TV or a new comic book. With a page full of notes and a few anecdotes, he'll give it a second look. Their followers call themselves Jessies, this trio we know as top-notch. With a good chance they'll discuss Riverdale, and they'll tell you what to watch. The pop-cultured man is a raider, podcasting just for fun. He'll talk you round and upside down, then pretend that he's conquered and won.
Nice. We could switch the theme song right now. We just did.
That's it right there. That's intense.
So what? We don't have to choose. What the online people say?
They ran away with Powerless, 67%. Hard Knocks just got 33%.
And I'm going to assume that's a vote for us. I'm going to take those votes as us.
Yeah, I feel good about that.
All right. So the play-in, Powerless goes up against a Netflix show.
They alive, damn it, it's a miracle. Unbreakable, they alive, damn it, with females are strong and unbreakable, they alive, damn it, it's a miracle. Unbreakable, they alive, damn it. That's gonna be fascinating transition. Damn it.
If I told you what that was based on, it would have been a dead giveaway. But Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, you said you watched all that, right?
I did. Just finished up, I think, 4 seasons, I think it is?
Yeah, I never watched any of it, but...
Oh, it's a good show.
And Netflix has that option to skip the theme song. And
Why
I
would
never did on this one.
That's a great theme
Love
song.
that theme song.
And it's obviously based on, if anyone doesn't know, there was one of the early auto-tuned news moments many years ago. It's had to have been a decade at least ago. 15 years ago, maybe. I don't know. When in Cleveland, those girls were kept in that house, and that guy came out and was given the news. You should watch the report first and then listen to the song. But we'll put the song at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So this is Ellie Kemper from The Office.
Yeah, who was great.
Who, we adored her on The Office and had no problem carrying her own show. She was one of the Indiana Mole women who was abducted when she was a kid in the 90s as a teenager. So she's been underground in a bunker since the 90s, comes out into modern day and doesn't, all her references are from the 90s. She has a very sunny disposition, and she moves to New York around people who are not sunny whatsoever. So it's just, she definitely carried the show for me, and it's co-created by Tina Fey, who is hilarious. Those co-starred in it a couple episodes, wrote a bunch of them. So
I should watch it.
It's good. Yeah,
it's good. For a long time, you would hear the song coming from my daughter's bedroom because she watched a lot of Kimmy Schmidt for a while.
Right.
It has a silliness to it. It has much like 30 Rock. There are a lot of jokes. Yeah. It's just the tempo of the jokes are fast, and there's some that reference 3 episodes ago something will happen, and then it'll come back around and they'll make a reference to it, and it's like, oh, whoa, that was okay. Now I see what they're doing.
I appreciate that type of humor.
You probably get a benefit of streaming it because you watch it pretty close together. So, how do we ever vote against our own theme song?
I want to vote against
this is
my
kind
own
of a problem,
song.
but I don't know. I really like that Kimmy Schmidt theme song.
Yeah, I do too. And I think it's probably just because I hear Powerless all the time.
Yeah, we always...
I'm always editing an episode.
Ka-Pow.
I also don't skip our theme song either, so
right.
You shouldn't either. I'm voting Kimmy.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. Kimmy Schmidt.
All right, a couple more Netflix shows.
The animals, trap, trap, trap till the cages fall. The cages fall, the day is new, and everyone is waiting on you and you.
Is that Regina Spektor?
It is.
I love her. I didn't know she did this.
Yep.
Think of all the roads, think of all their crossings. Taking steps is easy, standing still is hard. Remember all their faces, remember all their voices. Everything is different the second time around. And you got
Orange is the New Black.
Well, that...
Have you seen the... let her scream. I was just letting her scream, man.
Oh.
It's a great opening, and I would watch it every time. I didn't watch the latest season of the show because it kind of tailed off, but the first season was really good. I liked it. But that opening, they show all the faces of the women prisoners as they go through, and it's just, that song is killer.
This kind of bums me out, I'm not gonna lie. I love Regina Spektor. I have every one of her albums, and here I'm like, I'm this cool indie guy. I know this cool obscure singer, and here I learned she's the theme song of one of the most popular shows on the internet. So I'm not cool at all. I'm behind the trend. But I'm glad she's getting love because she is super talented piano player.
Speaking of love. That's the short and sweet intro to that song we've been, that show we've been preaching love on Netflix.
For 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. If
It's
you didn't know,
short,
we love this show.
Yeah. 3 seasons, 34 episodes from 16 to 18. It was, it's just a great show. So I like the theme song too, so I had to put it on here.
Yeah, I
and
do
neat, like the animated hearts and flowers and things. Yeah.
So what are you thinking?
As much as I love, the theme wasn't a real standout. A few years from now, I probably won't remember exactly what it was.
I agree. I got to go with the Regina Spektor.
But I have never heard that other theme song until today, so it's hard to vote for a song I
knew nothing about. I assumed it was one of her songs. So
no,
it was specifically for the show. I didn't know that. Yeah.
I mean, it might be she.
Right, I don't know. I feel like we should know that before, because I'm gonna give more props if it's just for the show. It's not on
one of her studio albums before this show came out.
Well, that's incredible because should be a hit song. I really like it. I definitely like it more than the love theme, and I like them both. A tougher choice is that against Kimmy Schmidt, because Kimmy Schmidt is a genius idea to do. It makes me feel like they came up with the whole show based on that.
Yeah,
on that giveaway.
Because the guy being auto-tuned is in the pilot episode. Like, that scene happened. He gives that interview on the show.
Right.
And the theme is that interview just auto-tuned. It's great. And then that guy even shows up later.
Yeah.
He's like in New York or something.
Crazy.
Yeah. I'll start it off. I'll vote Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Don't just pick the other one.
Somebody just say it.
Really? I got to think about it. I honestly... Oh, man, I don't know. I hate to just give it for this reason. I really like that the Kimmy is short and sweet.
And it's like bright.
Yeah.
Much like... her performance is everything. She smiles at everything. She never says a curse word. Everything's, she uses weird euphemisms instead of curse words.
Yeah, I think it's got a great hook in there, and makes me want to watch the show. Having
it's a miracle. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I'll go Kimmy.
Yep, me too. Okay, so we're down to the last section, the last 4 things we got. This is gonna, I know this is a Jordan show here.
Whistle along if you know it. Whistle along if your Friday nights weren't football games and parties, but X-Files on Fox. Me? Just me?
Yeah, just
me?
you.
Just you.
Sorry, it was football and parties for me.
Yeah. I was never an X-Files person. I don't like too much supernatural stuff because I want to be able to figure something out.
Well, I want to believe, so.
I say. It's funny you say that though, because I did like X-Files, but I was too busy out watching football games and drinking beer at the time, and I missed a lot of it. So
93 to 02.
They moved it to Sunday nights later in its run. Once it got popular and it wasn't buried on Friday night, it was just kind of a throwaway sci-fi show. And then they realized, oh, whoa, this is really good. They moved it to a more primetime post-Simpsons or whatever was after Simpsons spots.
And now they brought it back recently.
Yeah, they revived it. There were some hits and some misses for the revival, but it was nice to see the old duo again.
For what it's worth, it's a very Twilight Zone-y like song. I mean, it's a good theme song.
Oh yeah, I mean the theme. If you remember the theme, it's like photos being thrown on a table and like grainy footage of a UFO and Nessie and like it's all these mysteries and smoke-filled rooms and FBI badges being showed for the cast. So it's just atmosphere out the yin yang. And to me, the show just. I guess I hate saying how every one of these shows changed TV forever, but this show really, as far as the building a mystery from the beginning to the end, it had all these long-running storylines and the Monster of the Week stories, took sci-fi very seriously and built a very mainstream audience with very niche, nerdy sci-fi stuff, which a lot of stuff hadn't done before that.
I can't think of anything else on TV at that time that was anywhere near it. Like, even in the same genre.
Yeah. Well, it's up against a show that was based on a property that we felt was our own. We only knew about, and wouldn't it be exciting to make this into a show? And it ended up being the biggest show to ever be on television.
Give the show crap a lot of times, but when it does atmosphere, it does it really well. Starting with this theme song,
I've always loved
and the crows in the trees, and the the imagery of rotting buildings, and just so well.
It's a great opening. It is really good.
Yeah, I was leaning towards X-Files a lot until just listening to that, and kind of made me think twice there.
Yeah, I like the Walking Dead theme better. I forget that guy's name, Bear or something, and he wrote most of that music.
Bear Grylls?
Bear Grylls. Is that it? Or was that? Yeah, I was going to say, isn't that the guy that goes camping?
Bear McCreary.
Yeah. Anyway, I like that theme song better. It's so funny. Like we were saying, we loved that comic, and then they made it in the show. It's so crazy how huge it got, and it's still on.
And every season they kind of update. There's different names because they kill characters off so much.
Right.
There's different names, and they would show the pocket watch when they show Glenn's name, and they kind of tailor the theme every year to.
But the most famous
seasons.
name uttered.
Huh? Carl. Carl.
How many times have we heard coral said?
A lot.
Oh my!
Stay in the house, Carl.
Yeah. Go to your room, Coral.
That was like 3 seasons. Everyone's like, stay in the house, Carl.
So what'd you pick?
Walking Dead's a good song. X-Files is my entire adolescence. So X-Files.
What are you gonna do, Cliff?
Oh, I knew it was going to.
We split it down the middle.
Wow. Jeez, I don't know. I really don't know.
This would probably slot in a safe number 3 in my top 10. So it would go Twilight Zone, Buffy, X-Files. If we're building my top 10 out.
Okay.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of filler. This was on for a lot of seasons. There was a later season where Mulder left. They brought in Robert Patrick.
See, I was thinking that too. I was going to ask you about that. Didn't Mulder go away for a while?
During its best seasons, it was the best. During its lesser seasons, it was a stretch. And there were a lot of these like conspiracy episodes, they call it the mythology episodes, building on this mystery with his sister and clones and bees and black oil and alien assassins that never really built to a payoff. But to me, that like the individual standalone episodes are so good they outweigh any of the dead weight on some of the other ones.
He's trying to get an X-Files Buffy final here.
That's what he's trying to.
Oh no, that would be terrible for me.
What do you say, Cliff?
I'm going to go with Walking Dead.
All right, so
and that's a tough choice for me. I'm
glad you at least put thought into it.
Yeah,
I won't feel slighted.
Again, that's a tough matchup, I think.
Yeah. Well, the final matchup here, we got Walking Dead followed the tradition that AMC had set of being actually able to compete against HBO on Sunday nights, and these other 2 shows are the reason. Short and sweet.
And I love that because that show usually started with a cold open.
Yep.
Where something crazy or cool or hilarious or amazing would happen. And it's like, I don't need a long theme song. Get back to the show. It's like you just got, it's zoomed in on the periodic table. It's like, okay, get back to it. Because you want to get back to that story.
That is one thing we haven't talked about. When talking about all these different TV theme songs. There was a period of time there a few years ago where the theme songs just went away. Like, they didn't want to waste time on them, and, like, it was a lost art there for a while. So many shows just started, or they played just a couple notes, and you were right into the show.
Like Lost or whatever. It would just show the title and just make a...
Right.
I'm pretty sure the show it's up against, they went back and forth. Like, one was on, then the other was on, because I think they had the same time slot, but they just ruled AMC Sunday nights, and then, like I said, Walking Dead eventually took over. Breaking Bad was 08 to 13, and this show started a little earlier and ran a little longer.
That authentic 60s feel. It's almost a little...
Yeah, I mean, this Mad Men was created by Matthew Weiner, and he was that show. You didn't ad-lib on that show. It was very scripted. It was, if there was going to be any changes, they talked about it for a while. He meticulously ran that show, and it... thrived because of it. I loved that show. Like I said, Breaking Bad's my favorite show, and Mad Men is in my top 10.
I've never watched an episode of either one of these, so I'll just get my vote out of the way. That's the first time I've heard either one. I like Mad Men better.
Yeah.
But I really haven't.
You've never heard the theme song to either one of those?
I've never watched an episode of either one.
They're not Cliff shows, but we have found, like, there's only one person in the world, right, who hasn't seen either of these shows.
I have never seen an episode of Mad Men.
I believe that. That's the less watched.
I mean, when it was on, it was the critical darling, every Emmys, all the top 10 awards every year from every magazine. But it just, to me, it just had a very soap opera-y feel to me of office drama and who's sleeping with who, and it just didn't appeal to me in that way. The style of it didn't overcome what I think it is. No, I could be very wrong.
I was just thinking you're pulling a Buffy on me.
Yeah. The same way you look at Buffy and turn your nose up, I'm like, it's just people in retro clothes. It's the they have a cigarette, but it's the same drama of any primetime soap opera. So I'm sure I'm wrong.
Did I mention that Rich Summer is in it?
Well,
and he utters what he played Harry Crane. He utters one of the greatest lines I've ever heard anyone say.
Check out Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast with Seth.
That was.
What season was that on?
There's our friend Rich Summer promoting Ka-Pow.
How is that not on a loop?
Anyway, I love it. It is. I can see why some people wouldn't like it. It's a little slow, but I feel like it's a higher brow show than that. It takes, you have to put some time into the show. I love it. I love it. I've watched it through twice, and I will do it again.
Made John Hamm a superstar.
Right. He's amazing.
Christina Hendricks. God bless
Elizabeth Moss.
God bless you for bringing us Christina Hendricks.
Let's start listing, man. There are some good people.
Come on.
Vincent Kartheiser has one of the great quotes I say all the time. Not great, Bob.
Got his start in the Buffy verse.
Oh, really?
As Connor, Angel's son.
Oh, okay. Great show. Okay, we went through all. So you voted Mad Men. I agree. Mad Men's the better theme song.
I love Breaking Bad. Let's call it number 4 on my list.
Oh, okay.
Let's call it that. But there's not much to the theme.
Right.
It has atmosphere and it's cool, and I love hearing it because it meant there was more on the way. But yeah, Mad Men's a funky tune.
And I'm gonna go ahead and say Mad Men over Walking Dead, but
I'm gonna say Walking Dead.
I'd say Walking Dead.
Okay, so Walking Dead faces off against Kimmy Schmidt, and I go Kimmy Schmidt.
Now, see, if you'd asked me this half hour ago, I probably would say obviously Kimmy Schmidt, but I don't. That Walking Dead has some style to it.
Play Walking Dead.
And this show has broken my heart a lot of times.
It felt like this.
But I still...
It felt like stringed instruments.
I hear this song and it gives me hope. Like, there's something good might happen.
It took a turn there. No hope. Hear it.
Dead, open, don't inside.
But don't you want to feel good?
I love that. It's so cheery.
Yeah. This I like them both, obviously. But this is a better song.
First of all, it's a miracle!
I've been singing the last 2 days.
The winner of this goes up against The Office. So we could have 2 sitcom-y songs, or we could have a dark, dreary song versus a funny, chipper song. If that makes any difference.
What did you vote?
Kimmy
Schmidt.
Yeah, I said I'm late to Kimmy Schmidt. I only watched it in the last few months. But yes, it has been stuck in my head the entire time since.
That does happen, yeah. Okay. Are you going with Kimmy?
I could vote either way, but I think I'm leaning Kimmy.
Kimmy Schmidt. Unbreakable.
So our final 4 of the modern bracket here is, I don't even remember, Sopranos versus
Buffy.
And
I'm looking at this bracket, and it turned out completely different than I would have ever imagined.
I had no idea starting it.
Yeah, I didn't. I really didn't. I thought you would
like Game of Thrones, Stranger Things. I would have put right there. Like And then we have The Office versus Kimmy Schmidt. So between The Sopranos and Buffy.
It's been a while since we heard Sopranos. We might need another taste of that.
Woke up this morning, got yourself a gun. Your mama always said you'd be the chosen one. She said, 1 in a million, you got to
that either of these are what you call iconic. These you wouldn't sing it on the bus on the way to
Exactly. Nobody's going to know the words on the school bus to either of these songs.
So you got to kind of take that out. I mean, it doesn't have that mass appeal. It's not something people reference on a daily basis.
And I know I'm wrong, but I feel like if I played these for anybody, like the average person would not know either one of these.
I agree. I would, if you want my honest opinion,
I want nothing more.
Yeah, I would have had ER come out of this bracket.
Wow.
And I think everybody would recognize it, and it could have possibly won the whole thing. So I don't know what you guys did to me.
It's the Thrones, man. I have no idea when it comes to these two.
I'm gonna go ahead and lay out Buffy. That's just it's a sentimental pick, but I also think the song, for the era it was on, for the genre it is, it's just the perfect theme song for what that show was. And that final shot of Buffy, it's looking up at her, and she spins a stake in her hand like she's an old West gunslinger. And you just hear this drum. And it's just this like iconic hero shot.
What do you think, Cliff?
For whatever reason, I just don't care for the Sopranos theme.
That's
so
fine.
I gotta vote Buffy.
Oh yeah, I'll back you guys up on that. So Jordan's like getting a little excited.
No, I'm just saying, like, that was an undisputed vote. We're saying 3-0.
Yes,
but you all voted Buffy.
It's undisputed that out of what was left on that side,
on the record,
out of
that you all voted for
left
Buffy.
after you guys screwed me out of ER. Yes,
because I know you're probably not going to let it win. So I just want this moment to be an
relish it. Pause podcast right here. Okay, let's hear.
Because again, much like the last bracket, I feel like the winner was on this side for Cliff, definitely.
Yeah.
And I assume probably for you. This is the best known piece of music
of
the last
what's left.
8 we've listened to.
Yeah,
So.
what's left.
Yeah.
So what's your pick, Cliff?
The Office over Kimmy Schmidt.
I'm not leaving it to you this time. How's that? You can be the decider right now.
Yeah.
But I've said that, like, if every one of these shows was on right now, I'd probably flip to The Office. It is just it never gets old to me. There's early seasons where Michael's hair was all slicked back to the later seasons with weird people you forgot were even on the show. Nellie, I forgot she was even on this.
Plop.
So it's like, it doesn't matter what era is on. I still enjoy watching it. Kimmy, I literally just started watching it, but if we're just talking theme songs, I think Kimmy Schmidt does a better job with that bouncy, bubbly, plus it ties into the plot. If the guy singing it is a character on the show.
I hate this.
You said you wouldn't let me be the decider.
Stupid.
So
why did I do
Kim.
that? I hate you. I was sitting there. This didn't work out the way I wanted at all.
That's how
because
I felt
we're deciding the winner as far as I'm concerned. Like you're right. I'm going to pick either of these over Buffy.
Yeah.
So convince me, Cliff. This is where you have to convince me that The Office is better than Kimmy Schmidt to win the whole bracket. This part of the bracket.
Yeah, and maybe it's kind of odd because when you think.
By the way, people, we know we're going on and on and on and on. You can tune out anytime you want. I'm just saying we take this far too seriously, and that's really the way we like it.
We understand how low the stakes are, but we don't care.
There's cigarette smoke in here and coffee and. We're figuring it out.
The Office is very different for me because when I think of like classic sitcoms, for the most part, I'm thinking like Cheers and Friends and, even lesser known hits, Full House and stuff like that. You knew every word of it. and you knew it was going to be a sitcom. It just had that vibe to it, and I feel like Kimmy Schmidt does too. But The Office was just more than that sitcom. It was so different, and I realized the UK version, the original, 3 seasons of the British comedy was there first. But I always felt like, and I've went back and watched a lot of that, but I always felt like our version took it where it needed to go.
Yeah.
And that even when you listen to that the British version, it's a different theme.
It's kind of,
it's very mundane.
It's more sad and just kind of,
yeah.
Which is the tone for their show.
Right.
And there's purists that'll say, oh, America ruined this amazing masterpiece of TV. But yeah, I think the American version, like I said, took the concept, and it's different than what the British did, but it's, elevated it.
You were always on that. The Office to me was always very unpredictable.
Well, I keep wanting. Of course, it's in my top 10 of shows. I love the theme song because of that. I feel like, and it's good.
It just
I hate to hold this. The thing is, I like the Kimmy theme because it's new to me and stuff, and so I feel like I shouldn't vote for it because it's new to me. But I also hate to hold that against the modern bracket. Something new should have a possibility.
This show that very few people have seen has to weigh. It's all got the weight of the modern bracket on its shoulders when it goes up against these juggernauts.
Yeah. Thing is, I think it has a better chance in the long run, but I'd probably have to go Office. So I think we're just jumping to it. The winner of the modern extreme TV theme song bracket is The Office. I'm happy with that. I like that. I think we had some good stuff there at the end.
I'm actually a little surprised that won out. I didn't think it would.
That's what I thought would win the whole thing. I told you I had one in here that I thought would win, but the reason was because of you, and you were like, I don't know. In the first round, I was like, okay, this is totally. I didn't know what to expect, but you came.
So again,
around.
if I had voted Big Bang Theory, this never would have happened.
Yeah.
Nope. It's all, you just want to figure out a way that it was all because of you. I like it. All right, we did it. So we're going to have one more of these left coming up. Only part we have left is the Silver Age. It'll be coming soon. So then we'll have to figure out.
Like our Facebook page because you have a vote in this. We're gonna
watch we'll put the play-ins for the Silver Age coming up here soon.
Yeah.
I honestly thought this would be a little shorter episode. I didn't think we'd have as much to say.
I think the problem was, we did. It was so all over the place.
Yeah,
that it took us forever.
So it was a lot of trying to convince ourselves.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they're not classics. We have to kind of convince. No, this is a classic.
Yeah,
this is one of the most watched shows ever, and The Office will be on forever.
Right.
It will be a classic 50 years from now.
I think we ended up in the right place. It was just tough to get there.
It's so funny because at my house, you can hear it playing, the theme song playing from multiple televisions on different episodes.
Wow.
And it'll just kick in, and especially at like night because
your house is crazy.
Yeah, it's out of control. So, all right, with that.
That's cool. So one more of these to go. I hope you'll tune in for that here in a little bit. But until then, my name is Jordan Lowe.
I'm Cliff Barnes.
I'm Seth. Bye forever.
Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast, is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Sounds, music, and clips played during the podcast are property of copyright holders. All original content is property of www.udownwithkpp.com.
I'm talking with Charles Ramsey. He's a neighbor. Walk me through again what happened this afternoon.
I knew something was wrong when a little pretty white girl ran to a black man's arms. Yeah, give it away. Yeah, give it away. My neighbor got big testicles because we see this dude every day. We eat ribs with this dude, but we didn't have a clue that girl was in that house. She said, please help me get out. Yeah, give away, 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 give away, give away, yeah, give away, yeah, give away, yeah, give away. My neighbor got big testicles, cause we see this dude every day. We eat ribs with this dude, but we didn't have the clue that girl was in that house. She said, please help me get out. So I open the door, we can't get in that way. The body can't fit through the door, only your hand. So we kick the bottom. And she comes out and she says, it's some old girls up in that house. Call 911 and they called him and McDonald's. I knew something was wrong. A little pretty white girl ran to a black man's arms. Yeah, give away. Yeah, give away. My neighbor got big testicles, cause we see this dude every day. We eat ribs with this dude, but we didn't have the clue that girl was in that house. She said, please help me get out. Yeah, give away. Yeah, give away. My neighbor got big testicles, cause we see this dude every day. We eat ribs with this dude, but we didn't have the clue that girl was in that house. She said, please help me get out. Yeah, give away. 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 Give away. Give away. Give away.